Since a friend had some curiosity about what my overly complicated Factorio setup looks like, I thought I would make a video of it since I'm not really sure how to take a still picture that covers everything. As you can see, despite my 123 hours or so into this map, I still don't know what I'm doing. Right, so this is the area that I have been working on most recently, but let me run over to kind of where it starts. Well, there isn't really a single spot where it starts at this point. This is the giant mess that my early factories always turn into before I manage to start really organizing things. This has all of Bob's and Angel's additions, so slow down. This is the belt line that has all of the raw ore. This is silver, lead, nickel, gold, silver, titanium, I think. What's in here? Okay, that's aluminum. And then this is tin, zinc, cobalt, manganese, iron, and copper. And as we go down along this processing line, these get diverted out to the various processing lines that turn them into ingots, and then the ingots get dumped back out into the same beltway, taking the place of the raw ore. So by the time you get down here, everything is turned into ingots. All of the metal production processes are notably more complex in the Angel's and Bob's mods. So for instance, copper, you take the raw copper and turn it into processed copper, which you then put into pelleting machines to make pellets, and then you put them into a blast furnace to make anodes. And I looked online at what the hell a copper anode is, and I learned interesting stuff about metal manufacturing. But anyway, then you feed the copper anodes into the chemical furnace with sulfuric acid, and you get copper ingots. And all of these chains are generally that complex or more so. Especially things like gold, where you take the gold pellets and you put them into a chemical furnace along with pure water and oxygen and sodium cyanide to make the anodes, which you combined with, oh no, how does that work? You put the sodium gold cyanide that comes out of that last step into here, and you get the cathodes that you then smelt into ingots. But yeah, anyway, that's all the metal processing. Down here I am turning the ingots into the molten versions of the various metals because it's easier to move the liquids around than the solids. And at some point I'm going to change the way this works because it's completely unrealistic. I just have these big, vats of molten metal sitting here until they're ready to use, which obviously makes no sense in the real world. These are the production lines for the belts, the transport belts. These are tier tier 5 belts. So in this set of mods, you make these basic transport belts, and then you modify those with some tin to make a regular transport belt, and then you add steel gear wheels and bronze plates to make a fast transport belt, and then to that you add cobalt steel gears and bearings plus aluminum to make the express belt. And then you take the express belt and you add titanium gears, titanium bearings, and titanium plate to make the turbo transport belt. And there's one tier above that, but I haven't managed to get that really going. Let's see. I have installed a mod that lets you choose your walking speed from 3 different options. And in fact, without that mod, I had basically stopped playing because my factories were just too big to actually get anywhere efficiently. It was just too annoying. What I'm hoping to do is, my last giant factory, I put everything on a railroad line. I had little production nodes attached to a main trunk line, and dozens and dozens of trains carrying stuff everywhere. And this one I decided I wanted to try making little production nodes and then just belting stuff into some kind of central distribution area. So this is where I'm managing coal. With a set of mods, you can take the coal and produce powdered coal and produce coke, and you produce coke pellets. What is this thing doing? This is taking coke plus steam and making, making carbon. This is taking carbon plus water to produce carbon monoxide, and this is using coal to produce carbon dioxide, which are both reactants in the metal processing down there. And I've got these supply lines that feed in to wherever it is they're going. At some point I'm going to do a better job of making them all look pretty and label them. This is the area where I'm just producing water, pure water and steam. This is petrochemical processing. What I've just recently been working on is producing lubricant over here, so I'm bringing multi-phase oil in by train. The multi-phase oil goes through a separator to produce crude, sulfuric wastewater, and raw gas. Looks like I got attacked. This is the clarifier that magically cleans up the sulfuric wastewater. I'm piping the crude oil over here to this refinery, which is producing residuals, base mineral oil, fuel oil, and naphtha. But what I need is lubricant. So lubricant is made from base mineral oil plus residual gas. Residual gas can be made from cracking mineral oil. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'll put a steam cracker here and feed some mineral oil plus the crude oil into a cracking machine to get the lube. Which means I'm going to have to pipe some steam over here from down here, I guess. But that's okay, because I've already got some steam going up here. Maybe I don't. I've got pure water, hydrofluoric acid, hydrochloric acid. So I lied, I don't have any steam going up here. But anyway, this is the chemical feed line for these ore processing nodes, units, whatever you might want to call them. I've been working on creating some control logic for these machines. So using the Bobs and Angels mod, you take the base ore and you can sort the base ore into 2 different metals, but you can also process the base ore into chunks, and then you can sort the chunks into 4 different metals, or you can process the chunks into these crystals, which you can sort into 5 different metals, or you can process the crystals into these pure, purified crystals? Just says purified cruthenium. And you sort those out and you get 6 different metals. So I've been trying to build some control logic up here that keeps track of how much of the individual raw ore is in storage, so that the appropriate sorting machine runs to create stuff that I need and not stuff that I don't. And it's kind of a mess, so I've only implemented it on that one setup. I'm still working on it over here, and in fact I've kind of let that go for a while because I realized what I need to do is start actually producing enough ores to make the stuff that I need to make the logic out of. This is a whole new ore processing system. Eventually I'm going to have a belt for each of these ores that goes down through here to feed into these feed lines. Originally it was all like jumbled up and coming from all over the place, and this entire area was just jammed full of every kind of belt and pipe, and I wiped it all out and started fresh up north, and I'm actually still in the process of recovering from that by making sure all of the appropriate feedstocks are being produced and coming in through here. So I'm still kind of catching up from that major redesign, but without the redesign I couldn't really scale up production. I don't know, I guess that's about it. Thanks.